Today we got You Do Not Understand Kurama Chakra Mode. Let's see. I think I have a pretty alright understanding of it, but maybe we don't. Maybe I don't. Maybe you don't. We here to learn. Make sure to subscribe, like the vid. Let's get into it.
Transformation in all of Naruto. It is by far the most iconic transformation in all of Naruto. It is the poster boy for Naruto transformations with heavy influence from Super Saiyan 1 and is the basis for all of the preceding transformations from that point forward. KCM 2 is just an upgraded version of the original Kurama Chakra Mode, KCM being the abbreviation for Kurama Chakra Mode. Bijou Sage Mode is just KCM with Sage Mode stacked on top of it, and even going into the Boruto era, he was still using it up until he lost Kurama. But ironically,
See, because look, this is something, including myself, had to learn. He still got the Sage of Six Paths power until he loses Kurama. He still has the Sage of Six Paths power until he loses Kurama. And he's stronger in Boruto than he was as a teen. I'm thinking he lost. No, he's still like that. He's actually more like that than he was before.
for how iconic and how popular it is, not a lot of people understand how KCM functions. Yeah,
The reason for that, though, is as popular as Naruto is, it's still people to this day don't understand. Let me think of something. People to this day don't understand that Itachi isn't a good brother. To this day, like Obito, they think Obito only caused the war because of Ran. Like, it's a lot of things people don't understand, and Naruto been around forever, so it's been around for 20 years almost.
all watched a Suayakage video where he explains all of the different abilities of KCM and how much of a boost it gave Naruto, but as far as I know, no one has really explained how Naruto unlocked KCM, the foreshadowing leading up to its acquisition, and the symbolic nature behind the transformation as a whole in regards to Naruto's character and the greater narrative of the Naruto series, which is why today I want to do just that. But before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, I'd greatly appreciate it. So the first bit of foreshadowing for KCM comes to us in chapter 370 of the Naruto manga during a conversation between Jiraiya and Gamatora, the holder of the spell key for Naruto's seal. During this conversation, Jiraiya postulates that the reason that Minato bequeathed the seal to him was because it was meant to eventually go back to Naruto, and he really believed that Minato entrusting him with the spell key indicated his will to have Naruto complete that.
Let's talk about some. Jiraiya was right about Naruto being able to use, he was right about why Minato left the Nine Tails chakra into him. Let me re-say this. Jiraiya was right about the reason why Minato left the Nine Tails chakra to Naruto, and he was right about Madara Uchiha being the one to attack the village with the Nine Tails when it happened. Obviously, I know Obito was the one who did it, but Obito wouldn't have did it if it wasn't for Madara, so he was right about that.
Jutsu one day. Now, in regards to what Jiraiya meant by saying that jutsu, a lot of people speculate that he may be referring to the Tailed Beast Bomb, but around 100 chapters later, while Naruto is accepting the spell key to his seal, he has a flashback to his conversation with Minato in his inner plane where he states that he sealed half the Nine Tails inside of Naruto because he trusted that Naruto would master the power, and the transformation that Naruto received immediately after this was KCM. This basically confirms that what Jiraiya was speaking about was KCM and more than likely not the Tailed Beast Bomb. It also doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be the Tailed Beast Bomb.
I got a question, gang. I got a question. So we seen Naruto learn how to use and control the KCM, but we didn't see Minato learn how to use it. Mind you, he still have the Nine Tails into himself too, and then Minato died. And then when you get reanimated, how can he use what's it called? How can Minato use the KCM without knowing how to use it, or without learning how to use it, I should say? I don't know if that's a plot hole or anything, but I'm just genuinely curious.
Given that Naruto used it in his Four Tails transformation, which at most would be vaguely above a nerf to Orochimaru, while Minato thought that this jutsu was necessary to take down Obito, who everyone should agree vastly outscales Orochimaru. It's also even further confirmed in the War Arc, where his half of the Nine Tails says, and I quote, "That's why you sealed my leftover half inside him, as if you were confident they'd be able to work together." This along with Kurama literally saying that everything turned out how Minato intended, which again just solidifies the fact that the jutsu that Minato wanted Naruto to learn and the jutsu that Jiraiya was referring to was KCM, and yes, KCM is a jutsu. But now that we've got the foreshadowing and the build-up out of the way, let's get into the acquisition and the mechanism behind the transformation. Now, contrary to popular belief, Naruto did not acquire KCM just because he took chakra from the Nine Tails, nor was it because of anything special about the seal or because he had the yang half of Kurama. The reason Naruto gained KCM is purely based on methodology. You see, in chapter 490 of the Naruto manga, Gamatoro gives us a basic rundown of how acquiring the Nine Tails power actually works. He explains that the Nine Tails power comes from the Nine Tails chakra mixing with the Nine Tails will. To control Nine Tails power, one needs to extract just the Nine Tails chakra, convert it into one's own chakra, thus making it one's own power.
Yeah, they had to do that back and forth. If Naruto lost that tug of war though, he would have just been consumed by karma. And that's the risk to it. That's why not everybody just can do this. And that's why people was looking at, like, was wondering, Minato, what are you doing? Like, are we sure he gonna be able to do this? And obviously it worked out.
But that's not easy as it sounds, because when one pulls Nine Tails chakra, his will always tags along. And unfortunately for the Jinchuriki, the Nine Tails will is a lump of hatred bound tightly to its chakra by strong forces, which means that no matter how strongly one tries to hold on to their self, it ferrets out any hatred lying around in one's heart and tries to bind to it and take it over. So in order to control Nine Tails power, one must have a strong will of one's own, empty of hate, that can completely separate the Nine Tails will from its chakra. And this principle is what separates KCM from the other Bijou transformations. Typically when a Jinchuriki uses the power of their tailed beast, they use the whole thing, that being the chakra and the will together. Whenever a Jinchuriki uses the entire power of their tailed beast without extracting the will, it results in the version 1, the version 2, and the Bijou transformation, with the red and black stuff that you see on them being the will of the tailed beast. And we know that that's the will because in his fight against Kurama to extract the chakra, Kurama began to seep his will into the chakra to try and corrupt Naruto, and Naruto began to undergo his version 1 and 2 state. However, when Naruto finally rescinded the will of the Nine Tails and extracted the pure chakra, the form that he gets from just the chakra alone is KCM. And if you don't even want to take my word for it, Yuki, another tailed beast, verbatim says that the reason that Naruto doesn't rampage when he uses this pure chakra is because it's Bijou chakra pure, implying that it's just the chakra and no will, so there's no hatred to ferret up and
That's right. That's accurate. That is very accurate. We've seen when Naruto rampaged on, I forgot that bridge, but he was fighting Orochimaru, and when he was fighting Pain, it's not the same. Like they look totally different. The energy is totally different, and Naruto is in control compared to when he's not. So yeah, that's accurate. It does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Cause him to go haywire, which leads me to my next point, which is that KCM is effectively a workaround. For every other Jinchuriki, the process by which you use your tail beast's power is by simply fighting them and taking their chakra. This chakra would obviously have their tail beast's will in it, but they don't have a will like the Nine Tails. They don't have pure hatred in the form of a fox, so they would have a better shot at suppressing the will of their tail beasts. However, with the Nine Tails, you physically cannot do that unless you are completely impervious to hatred, which is why Minato developed the principle of simply just separating the will from the chakra, allowing you.
And that's why Naruto had to get the hatred out of his heart. Like, if Naruto tried to learn this before he fought Pain, he wouldn't have been successful in just pulling the chakra from the will and using the chakra. Cause that boy Naruto was ready to pack pain up. I'm telling you, if it was me, I know I'm not the main character, and if I do this, Renin Rebirth wouldn't have happened. But I would have had 2 Shadow clones and 2 big giant Rasenguns. Konan would have got packed up if she would have got in the way, and Nagato would have. If she would have stayed where she was at, which she probably wouldn't have, then she'll live. But Nagato, I'm sorry, you gotta go. You gotta go. You crippled. You weak. All your paths of pain. I beat them. It's just me and you and Konan. If she wanna try, she gonna lose. But yeah,
to use the chakra without even having to confront the hatred. This also implies that the other Jinchuriki should be able to learn their own version of KCM if they learn how to do it, but they're dead, so oh well. Now, whenever I reach this part of the explanation, people always question why B never learned his version of KCM since he taught Naruto how to unlock KCM, but as we've just explained, he didn't teach him how to unlock KCM. What B did was teach Naruto how to go in there and access the power as a whole. The actual separating the chakra from the will thing was not.
yeah. B didn't teach him that, and honestly, B don't really need to learn how to do it himself. Him, B and the 8 cells, they get along just on. So I don't really think it's really needed, to be honest. But Naruto and Kurama didn't get along. So showing Naruto how to use the Kurama power and then them getting along after that, that makes sense to me.
Taught by Gyuki or B, that was done purely by Naruto with some help from Kushina, which leads into KCM 2 or Bijou Chakra Mode, which contrary to popular belief is not the combination of Naruto and Kurama's chakra. Can they both use their chakra at the same time? Absolutely, but them using their chakra together is not the reason why they have Bijou Chakra Mode. Bijou Chakra Mode or KCM 2 is still using the same principle as base KCM, however, instead of partitioning a piece of Kurama's chakra and using that, he's applying the principle to the entirety of Kurama's chakra. This obviously allows him to use a lot more chakra and grants him these higher forms. But what does this mean for Naruto as a series and for Naruto as a character? You see, the acquisition and the progression of KCM basically outlines Naruto's evolution in his approach to hatred and how he was going to go about changing the world. And we see this with the contrast between his version 2 state and KCM itself. When in his version 2 state, he is literally and metaphorically bathing in his hatred. All of the repressed trauma and anger that he felt all those years is being used as a source of power, but that power is not true strength, which is why the version 2 state is a double-edged sword, since although it gives you power, it also breaks your body down in a vicious cycle that eventually leads to your death. It also represents making deals with the devil, where the version 2 state allows him to use techniques such as the Tailed Beast Bomb, which are a lot more destructive than his regular Rasengans, but for the price of Kurama slowly taking over his body. The next step in the evolution is KCM, and this is the beginning of Naruto's rebirth. KCM is an ability that basically gives you all the abilities of version 2 state, but without the drawbacks. However, it's not actually perfect because you're not actually dealing with the hatred, you're just pushing it aside and taking the good parts. You're not actually confronting your problems, you're just looking for a workaround. This is why Naruto wasn't able to use Kurama's chakra to its fullest capability, since he's only borrowing the power. He's not actually confronting the problem.
Yeah, wasn't they like Naruto uses Kurama's chakra, and in return, Kurama uses Naruto's chakra like to replace it? This was before he talked to himself in that waterfall though. So
That being Kurama's hatred. It's only after befriending Kurama and confronting his hatred that he gains access to KCM 2 and the Bijou avatar, since he's now fully taken on the entire hatred of the Nine Tails.
Oh, I'm tripping. I remember. They had that conversation. Naruto was like, I'm gonna come after all that hatred in you too. Yeah, so he could use KCM mode 1 without having to do that. But KCM mode 2, okay, so to use KCM mode 1, he had to deal with the hatred in himself. Then KCM mode 2, he had to befriend Kurama so he can get that bigger amount of chakra. Okay, I understand.
which opens up the scope to a whole new possibility of power. This is then reflected in Naruto's conclusion, which he says to Obito that there is no shortcut to becoming Hokage. Hokage not really referring to just the position, but any goal that you want to achieve. At this point, Naruto has fully solidified his ideology, which is that you have to confront your problems head on, and there are no shortcuts. But that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you...
Hey man, make sure to like the video. Let me know what other anime videos